In the first quarter of 2026, the tech industry shed over 78,000 jobs. But one figure from former Meta and Google executive Nikhil Singhal reveals the real story. For every 30,000 people let go, companies are only hiring back about 8,000. The product management role is right in the crosshairs. It didn't disappear, it split violently in two. On one side, people who actively build software are thriving. On the other side, people who merely move information around face extinction. Mark Andreessen describes the force drivingness as a Mexican standoff. Product managers, engineers, and designers all suddenly realize they can use AI tools to do the other two jobs. They are all converging on a single atomic function, the builder. Open roles for these builders are at a 3-year high, and their compensation is setting records. Meanwhile, the slide deck coordinators, the people whose value was routing decisions between meetings, are finding their positions quietly erased. Surviving in tech today requires recognizing this divide immediately. You have to aggressively migrate away from coordinating and get back to creating. To figure out your survival odds, we can map your current trajectory using a simple framework, the PM Triage. Every tech worker today sits somewhere on a grid defined by two simple questions. Do you build, and do you judge? This creates 4 distinct profiles. The architect, who prototypes rapidly and evaluates variations. The builder, who ships fast but lacks taste. The strategist, who has judgment but delegates execution. And finally, the shuffler, who coordinates tickets and maintains Jira boards. According to Singhal, roughly half of all current PMs are shufflers. To find out where you sit, look at your calendar from last week. If you color-code your blocks green for hands-on creation and red or yellow for status updates, routing, and syncs, what do you see? If your week is a sea of red and yellow, you are the shuffler. You are actively performing the exact logistical tasks that AI agents are currently taking over. So if the writing is on the wall, why do so many smart, experienced people remain completely paralyzed? It comes down to a paradox Singhal calls the Shadow Superpower. The better you mastered the old game of product management, the less you can see the new one. Your deep expertise protects its own relevance. Look at this chart from a recent METR study on developer speed. It shows that experienced developers using AI tools were actually 19% slower than without them. But the transparent bar reveals the trap. Those same developers believed they were 24% faster. This creates a massive identity threat for senior leaders. You spend 10 years honing your organizational instincts, only to be told a junior employee with Claude can outproduce you over a weekend. Relying on the prestige of past employers and the muscle memory of old processes is an illusion. It masks a fatal vulnerability in a landscape that rewards output over pedigree. But there is a very human reason we resist this shift. It is the disappointment algorithm. In your mid-career power years, you might have 6 hours of energy to give, but 20 hours of demand from your family, health, and job. When you are operating in a constant state of triage, equally disappointing everyone in your life just to stay afloat, you have absolutely zero mental energy left to continue the grueling work of career reinvention. This graph shows exactly what happens when overwhelmed people try to adapt. It tracks enterprise AI adoption, revealing a steep valley where 80% of users abandon the tools within 3 weeks. They don't quit because the technology fails. They quit because of a psychological trap. An 8-hour manually researched report feels like hard, honest work. Using an AI to produce that same report in 10 minutes feels like cheating. This failure to adapt is an addiction to effort. We measure our value by the hours we sacrifice, rather than the decisions we make or the output we deliver. To survive this transition, discipline and fear will not be enough. The people who successfully cross the chasm rely on a completely different emotion. Everyone has a story about when they first used these tools for something silly and personal. One PM stayed up all night building an app to control their house lights. Another built a customized chief of staff tool just to fix their own inbox. Once you experience that spark of playful creation, the disappointment algorithm recalculates. You suddenly find time you didn't know you had because the work stops feeling like a sacrifice. AI offers a way to strip away the miserable routine and theatrics that have cluttered the PM role for a decade. It removes the work you already hate so you can focus on building. A great engineer is defined as someone who obsoletes themselves from everything they do. That definition now applies to every product builder in the industry. The leaders crossing this threshold describe their current state as smiling exhaustion. The pace of change right now is brutal and relentless, but they are smiling because the work is fueled by genuine excitement instead of dread. This volatility follows a historical optimization cycle. Just as product management stabilized after the shift from physical hardware to the internet, these roles will settle once companies define their new AI operating systems. But the window to make this leap and secure your position before the industry settles is closing rapidly. The best time to start building was 3 months ago. The second best time is this afternoon.